Hey there, everyone! Welcome back to the American Academy of Research and Academics. Today, we're tackling something that a lot of you have been asking about. How in the world do you secure funding for research? Now, if you're like most researchers, you've probably had this experience before. You have a great research idea, you're super excited about it, but then reality hits. You need money. Maybe you need to buy lab equipment, pay for access to a specific database, or even just get travel funding to present your work at a conference. But here's the problem. Where do you get that money? And how do you convince someone to give it to you? The word grant writing can feel intimidating, right? It sounds like some big bureaucratic process with complicated forms, strict deadlines, and a whole bunch of academic jargon. And let's be honest, most of us weren't trained in medical school on how to write grants. So today, I'm going to break it down step by step, in the simplest, most practical way possible. By the end of this episode, you're going to know what a grant actually is and why you should apply for one, how to write a strong, convincing grant proposal, where to find funding opportunities, the biggest mistakes to avoid when applying for grants. So, if you're a medical student, an IMG, or even an early career physician wondering how to fund your research dreams, grab a notebook, or just sit back and listen, and let's dive right in. All right, first things first, what exactly is a research grant? Why should you even care about this? Think of a grant as free money. Unlike a loan, you don't have to pay it back. It's given to you by organizations, universities, or private institutions to support your research. This could mean covering lab costs, software subscriptions, travel expenses, or even paying you a stipend so you can focus on your research without financial stress. Now, a lot of IMGs and young researchers assume that only senior researchers or faculty members can get funding. That is not true. Many funding agencies love supporting early career researchers. They want fresh ideas, they want innovation, and they want to see young scientists making an impact. But the problem is, most students and IMGs never even apply because they assume they won't get selected. That's the first mistake we need to fix today. So let's break this down. How do you actually apply for a grant? And more importantly, how do you win one? Now, let's talk about how to actually write a grant proposal that stands out. I like to break this down into 5 simple sections. Every great grant proposal includes these key elements. The problem statement. Why does this research matter? The solution. What exactly are you studying? The plan. How will you do it? The budget. How much money do you need and what will you use it for? The impact. Why should they fund you? Let's go through each one in detail so you can write a winning grant application. All right, the first thing you need to do is convince the funder that your research is important. You have to answer this question. Why does this research matter? And listen, this is where a lot of people mess up. They write long, overly technical descriptions with complicated jargon that no one understands. But here's the thing, if your problem statement isn't clear, you won't get funded. So how do you make it clear? Tell a compelling story. Asterisk. Example. Asterisk. Let's say you're studying antibiotic resistance in hospital-acquired infections. Instead of saying, this study aims to analyze resistance mechanisms of multidrug-resistant gram-negative bacteria in ICU patients. Try this. Every year, over 500,000 people in the U.S. develop life-threatening hospital infections that don't respond to antibiotics. Many of these patients died because we don't know how to stop these bacteria. My research aims to find a solution to this growing crisis. See the difference? The second version is powerful, simple, and urgent. You want the funder to feel like, wow, this is a real problem that needs to be solved. NOW asterisk. Here's another pro tip. Use data to back up your claims. Funders love numbers. Example. Asterisk. Antibiotic-resistant infections cost the U.S. healthcare system $20 billion every year, and resistance rates have increased by 30% in the past decade. If we don't act now, we are heading towards a future where common infections become untreatable. When you present a problem like this, it becomes impossible to ignore. Now that you've convinced them that the problem is real, you need to explain how your research will fix it. Think of this as your elevator pitch. You need to clearly explain what your study is about without overwhelming them with details. Asterisk. Example. Asterisk. My research will analyze the genetic mutations in resistant bacteria to identify new drug targets. By understanding these resistance patterns, we can develop better antibiotics that actually work. Boom! Clear, direct, and impactful. Asterisk. A lot of grant writers make the mistake of being too vague. Funders don't want to hear, "I want to study bacteria." They want to hear how you're going to do it and why it's exciting. Alright, so now we've explained why your research matters and what you're going to study. But the next logical question is, how exactly will you execute this study? Think about it like this. Imagine you're pitching your research idea to a smart but skeptical investor. They love your idea, but before they give you money, they need to know. How are you going to collect your data? What methods will you use? How long will it take? Do you have access to the necessary resources? This is where you outline the methodology in a structured, step-by-step way. Example. Let's go back to our example on antibiotic resistance research. Here's how you could structure your plan. Study design. This will be a retrospective observational study analyzing antibiotic resistance patterns in ICU patients over the past 5 years. Data collection. We will analyze electronic health records from 3 major hospitals, focusing on cultures from 500 ICU patients with resistant infections. Laboratory work, if applicable. We will use genetic sequencing to identify specific mutations responsible for resistance. Statistical methods. We will use SPS and R software to analyze trends and identify statistically significant resistance patterns. The project will take 9 months. First 3 months, data collection. Next 3 months, analysis. Final 3 months, writing the manuscript and preparing for publication. Asterisk. See how structured that is? You don't need to write a textbook-level explanation. Just be clear and show funders that you have a logical, achievable plan. They want to see that you've thought through every step. And here's another insider tip. If you already have access to data or lab resources, mention it. Funders are more likely to support research that has fewer roadblocks. Alright, now let's talk about money. This is the section where a lot of researchers make huge mistakes. If your budget looks unrealistic or poorly planned, funders will reject your proposal, no matter how great your research is. So here's what you need to remember. Be specific. Only ask for what you need. Justify every cost. Funders do not want to see vague numbers. Instead of writing, "We need $10,000 for research expenses," make it detailed and realistic like this. Category estimated cost justification. Lab materials $2,000 bacterial culture media, reagents for genetic sequencing. Statistical software $500 SPSS and R software subscription for data analysis. Conference travel $1,500 presenting findings at the Infectious Disease Conference. Publication fees $2,000 open access journal submission. Research assistant $4,000 part-time student researcher to assist with data collection. Total requested funding $10,000. See how clear and justified that is? Funders love seeing exactly where their money is going. If they see a vague request like miscellaneous costs, $5,000, they'll immediately reject it. No one funds mystery expenses. Another tip, don't overestimate costs. If you ask for too much money, your proposal will look unrealistic. If you ask for too little, they might think your study isn't feasible. Balance it well. The impact. Why should they fund you? Funders receive thousands of applications, so why should they choose yours? Make your study's impact clear and compelling. They don't just want good science, they want research that changes lives. Example. This research could help doctors choose better antibiotics, reducing ICU treatment failures and saving lives. This study will contribute to the understanding of antibiotic resistance. The first one wins because it's about real people and real impact. Align your research with the funder's mission. If they focus on global health, highlight how your study benefits low-resource countries. If they support cancer research, connect your findings to oncology. Make your proposal impossible to ignore. Show them they're funding more than just a study, they're investing in change. Where to find grant opportunities. A great proposal is useless if you don't know where to apply. Many researchers, especially IMGs, struggle with this. But here's the secret, there's more funding out there than you think. Big players, NIH and NSF grants. That NIH, National Institutes of Health, and NSF, National Science Foundation, provide billions in research funding, including grants for early career researchers. NIH F31 Fellowship, for students and early researchers in biomedical fields. NIAR-03 grant funds small pilot projects. K-Series grants support career development in medical research. How to increase your chances. Find a mentor who has won NIA/NSF grants. They can guide you and even involve you in their project. Email principal investigators, PIs, working on NIA-funded research. Private foundations, a hidden gold mine. Many IMGs and early career researchers secure funding through private foundations. These grants often have fewer applicants. Where to find them? Grants.gov, largest U.S. federal funding database. PIVO2 funding database, great for international researchers. Foundation Directory Online, a paid but powerful tool for private grants. University grants. Even if you're not a student, universities often have internal research grants with less competition. Even if you're not currently a student, some institutions allow external applicants to collaborate with faculty and apply. Industry-sponsored grants, pharma and biotech. Pharmaceutical and biotech companies like Pfizer, Merck, and Roche fund research in their focus areas. How to find these? Check company websites under medical research or investigator-initiated studies. Attend medical conferences. Companies often advertise grants there. Network with faculty who collaborate with industry. We've covered everything, from writing a compelling proposal to finding hidden funding sources most people overlook. If this helped you, share it with someone else struggling to secure funding. Let's help more IMGs and early career researchers succeed.